Welcome to episode 198 of Watch and Complain. Today on the show,
everyone.
It's a book.
Everyone
club
are books
for movies and television.
Books that you read instead of watching movies.
Yeah, don't go watch this movie.
Watch it. Just print out the film into a book and then read that like one of those quick flip books.
I don't even want to review the movie.
Your mouse died.
Mouse doesn't even want to review the movie.
He's got this rock pebble, or what's called the Pebble Rock, the Logitech Pebble, and it does not work.
It usually works. Now
it usually works. This house has been
what the hell?
There's been a ghost in this house all day that all of my electronics that I'm setting up on the QA bench have not been working. It's been frustrating, to say the least. Well, now the podcast is ruined. Thanks everybody for screwing up Phil's computer with all of your hateful comments. Yeah. But welcome to Watch and Complain. We're a book, so pick up our book wherever good books are sold.
Amazon.ca.
Amazon.ca. Yeah. Just look up Watch and Complain.
I keep going.
You can get me as a bookmark. Imagine me as a bookmark, like hiding over the top of your book.
So, how was the theater experience with me?
You're not the problem.
No,
it's mostly other people that are the problem for me. I don't care for the theater experience, and I know I've said this before, and there's people that are like, theater experience is the best movie experience in movies. No, people are terrible nowadays, myself included. I wouldn't want to be someone that goes that someone went to the movies with, because I'm hooting and hollering and acting stupid.
This was a really weird theater experience.
Yeah, because I think there was a I know you brought this up. There was like a group that was there that were not sitting together.
They were like a choir.
They were all different parts.
Yeah, and then they couldn't decide where they wanted to sit, and then like all of a sudden wanted to sit up with you. This pissed me off, and I'm surprised you didn't say anything when it happened. If you go up to your seat and someone's stuff is in the cup holder that you technically share, right? And you grab their food with your hands. I don't know where your fucking hands have been.
I didn't notice the guy grabbed my stuff.
He grabbed your peanut butter. No, your
peanut butter.
Your peanut M&M.
I brought it with me.
Your peanut M&M.
Yeah, but they weren't open.
Either way, you don't know where his hands have been. He could have been in the washroom masturbating.
Well, now I've got cum M&Ms. Taco
M&Ms.
Carlson would be so excited that I could cum all over my M&Ms.
My point is, it's rude to just go and grab my shit.
I don't even notice. I did not even notice until he was like, "Are these yours?" I'm like, "Oh yeah."
I would have just looked at him funny and been like, "You grab my shit."
See, this is why.
Don't touch my shit.
This is why you get so stressed out by shit, and I don't, because I don't give a shit about things like that.
I bought my
bought your Guardian's gown.
I bought my Guardians
for the Guardians of the Galaxy. He's going to be wearing a special flowing gown, where he's going to look like what's her name? Pia Zadora. Gamora? What the fuck's her name?
Gamora.
Zathora? He's going to look like Zathora with all of his
a different person.
Gown flowing out, and I've got to go, and I've got to say, do you take this quill to be your wedded wife?
Okay, so I bought tickets to Guardians of the Galaxy for opening night.
Wow.
Thursday night.
Is that this Thursday?
No, the next Thursday after that. Whatever.
Who cares?
It's on May the 4th. May the 4th be with you.
There's something that's going on May the 4th.
Isn't that weird? A big Marvel thing on a Star Wars day.
Oh, yeah, Star Wars. I forgot.
Idiot. Do you have any reference to May the 4th on your tattoos?
Yep.
Nope.
I got them done on May the 4th.
To get back on subject, which is very difficult for us, I bought my tickets, and there's three of us going. Alexander, my wife, and myself. And how the seats are laid out, they're love seats pretty much, right?
Ooh, sexy.
They're like, you buy two tickets together and they're two seats that are merged pretty much. So I hate the idea that someone's going to sit right next to me, because it's going to be my son and my wife in one set.
What if it's
then me and some
attractive woman
then,
that is, while she's watching it, she gets afraid and she's like,
okay.
And she's like grabbing onto you.
I can deal with not having attractive women on my lap for
I've dealt with it for fucking 20 years. The weirdest situation I ever had like that was I went and saw Kill Bill Volume 2. And we were all lined up. This is back when people, hey, Kill Bill Volume 2 is good. It's I waffle constantly on if it's better than Volume 1, but it's got a lot more crying Uma Thurman, which doesn't make sense, but that's a whole other argument. But we're standing in line, and I've got Karen. We weren't married yet, but she's on this one side of me. And I guess because the whole thing was so...
Standing in line.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
And I think because it was so busy, this girl comes over and just like fucking grabs on me. She's like, "Hey, how you doing?" And then it clicked into my head like, "Oh, this girl's trying to get into the theater." I'm like, "Hey, what's up? Hey, how are you?" And then I don't know why she thought this would have mattered. But then we go in, she's like, "Hey, thank you." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever."
Oh, she just wanted...
Yeah, she just wanted to get in and didn't want to go to the back of the line. But then she ended up...
Box. Why would you be okay with that?
What the fuck do I care? I got my tickets to go in. I don't give a shit. Fuck those people behind me.
The people behind.
Fuck them.
They had one kid that just got left. It was like
He
2
can't go in
tickets
to
left.
see- he can't go in to see
You got to
Kill
go in
Bill.
the car.
But what was fucked up was she got in the seat next to me. So Karen was here, and this girl was, and I didn't talk to her for the rest of the show. All I said to her was when she came in with me.
Oh, she sat next to you too?
Yeah, even sat next to me too.
That's weird.
Right. But she started.
Was she alone?
No, I think she had her boyfriend. I cannot remember. But all I remember is she started.
Did you look over at the boyfriend when she was blowing you?
I was like, "This isn't very good." Gave him the thumbs down. But she started crying during Kill Bill, like tear. Like,
was it a sad moment in the movie?
I don't remember any sad moments in Kill Bill. But she's crying at Kill Bill,
trying to get out of the casket.
It was really weird, and that's the one thing I remember is her sneaking in line, and then her crying during the movie. And I wanted to be like, I can't remember if I turned to Karen, what the fuck is this? I can't remember if I said to Karen, like, look at this weird fucking chick.
You probably
crying.
did the look.
Probably.
Because you're probably like, like.
Also, you'll notice I don't have a hot drink today because I don't want to burn my fucking face.
You haven't had one since. So my point was, let's get back on the subject again. I'm wearing a blouse. Yes. No. Going commando for that. No. I bought an extra ticket next to me.
For me?
No, just so I can not deal with people.
Why can't it just be for me?
I don't want to deal with people.
That's fucking bullshit.
I'm going. I've never done this.
You just don't want it to be me. Because you're tired of saying, "Rob, that is not your leg. It's my leg." Rob, that is not your testicle. No, I don't want to be tickled.
I would have preferred if you'd done that during Renfield because this movie was so fucking boring.
How the fuck
bad.
do you not fall asleep to Renfield, but you fall asleep to the other movie we were watching that you fell asleep? Oh, Cocaine Bear.
I went to the washroom during Renfield and didn't care where I went to the washroom. I mean, like,
what?
Not physically.
Jesus Christ.
I go in another theater and in front of everyone.
You're just pissing all over the floor, waffle stomping down the middle of the fucking, what's it called? Thing. You know, this thing.
I'm glad you know what a waffle stomp is.
This thing.
So, Renfield.
10 minutes we've talking about jack shit.
We weren't even done. Like, fuck Renfield. I don't even care. But
how
the
dare you?
Experience of, that person coming up and grabbing your shit.
Angered you?
No, I'm waiting for you to get angry. And it's just the weird things that you don't get angry about that you would expect you to get angry about. And then he decides not to even sit there after he did that. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then he leaves his wife there to deal with you, like as if she knows you.
Her and I are like best buddies.
You bought your tickets to this movie, and you decided to sit right next to someone.
They came in, and then I think he sat down, and he got up and he went like we're not talking fucking behind us. We're talking like 10 rows back, man.
And then he's like, oh, you want to come down here? I'll go up here. There's empty seats all over the place.
Yeah, clearly your fucking seat reservation you don't care about, you fucking numpty.
You know, those are the type of people who come in and go, yeah, I'd like 2 for the movie, and don't care where they get put.
Because they're going to choose their own seats anyway.
The concession place is just like,
again, this is why the theater experience is terrible. Unless you're going to see The Little Mermaid. Because in the front row are going to be a bunch of young kids and families, and then in the back row is going to be a bunch of white dudes with like fat white dudes with like fucking wife beaters on, going, "Not in my America, mermaids are white."
No, they won't go.
Mermaids are white.
It'll be a whole.
It's going to be the Bud Light people. Yeah. Oh my god, that Bud Light shit. Oh my fuck. So, where do they see it? I think Saturday or Sunday. It was in somewhere in New York. Bud Light put up a fucking huge banner that just says the word Crybabies and then a bottle of Bud Light, I was just like, this is beautiful. I love that.
They fired they put on administrative leave 2 of their marketing people.
They just hired the new marketing girl. They hired her for this very reason, because they were tired of Bud Light being like the good old boys beer. They wanted to bring in a younger audience. So she was like, hey, you know what? Who's going to bring in a younger audience? A young trans kid, right? So she does that, and then Bud Light fucking explodes and has a conniption fit. And then I wonder if I doubt it's her they put on administrative. It might have been.
I don't even know.
But I just thought it was once I saw that Crybabies thing, I'm like, this is wonderful.
I hope it was the ones that were apologetic.
Probably.
They sent out the press release saying, "Oh, we don't mean to offend people, but by offending them."
Dude, if you're offending Kid Rock, and to anybody that likes Kid Rock, oh my goodness.
I like his old, like the popular music that got popular, but
what's gross about
that he's gross.
What's gross about Kid Rock is he's a millionaire, and he's always been one, right? Like, he grew up on an estate. And I remember when he was touring with, I think Karen saw him with John Bon Jovi when she went and saw Bon Jovi. I can't remember. It was something on fucking Instagram. When he was
popular, right?
But he was never a kid from the Skids. He was never like a po' boy.
Not how he presented himself.
Yeah, he was always like a fucking rich. So and now he's like, yeah, fuck you, Bud Light. I'm like, dude,
Trump forever.
What a fucking loser. And I'm just happy. I'm happy that Bud Light put up that. I want a copy of that cry. And Phil will put it right here. He's going to scour the internet to find it. It just says Crybabies in the fucking thing. I want a picture of that at home because it's beautiful. Makes me cry to look at it and realize how awesome that is.
I am not going to go through the plot of Renfield.
Do you want to know a crazy statistic? So America, you know how Canada is geographically bigger than America, right? Yeah. You know that America's population is larger than Canada's.
I believe so, yes.
How much larger do you think it is than Canada's?
If I were to guess, I would guess about 4 times.
America is 9 times the amount of people in Canada. We have roughly 39 million people. America has 333 million people.
Jesus.
Okay? And what's even crazier is all the people who have a criminal record in the United States is more than the population of Canada.
Wow.
Which means that there are more than 39 million people. And that doesn't mean they're criminals. I'm not saying that by any stretch of the imagination. I'm saying it's fucked up that in America you can get a ticket. You can go to fucking jail for truancy, for skipping school.
Well, you can go to jail for anything.
It's
anything.
I was just, dude, I'm watching the show The Problem with Jon Stewart, and I'm not saying all of it's fucking true because it's TV and it's supposed to be sensational. But I was like, wow, that's crazy. And then I actually looked it up. And I was like, yeah, those are true statistics. I'm like, man, that's nuts.
Jon Stewart's pretty good on
I like Jon Stewart.
Sure that he's correct on things because
there's
it'll
some
come
stuff,
back on him.
There's some stuff I disagree with him on, but there's the majority of stuff I agree with him on.
Tucker Carlson got let go today?
Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Love it. Tucker Carlson's a little pig, and I'm so glad that
he's going to go on the same.
Oh, yeah, he's going on like OAN or Trump's news network or whatever. But who cares? He's not going to have the visibility that he has on Fox News. So good that he's gone.
So, Renfield, what do you remember of the plot?
Oh, so the one thing I remember about this movie, I'm not going to say it's a terrible movie because it wasn't terrible. It was just bad.
You're not a fan of this actor either.
Nicholas Hoult, no, not at all. And you know what? There's nothing wrong with the guy. I just don't like him. I don't like him as an actor. I find him very... He's very, hey, we need an actor, get that guy. He's very that guy.
I like him as an actor, but I did not like him in this.
He's very, he
tried.
Easily replaceable. There's a word I'm looking for.
Oh, yeah.
Like you could pull him out and put anybody back in.
Yeah. It doesn't matter.
And the plot of this movie, it meandered really badly. Like, it was almost like they had a cool idea, which was... not a very good idea to start with, but they were like, hey, we've got this idea. Robert Kirkman was like, and this is classic Robert Kirkman.
So what's the idea?
Because he comes up with this cool ideology of, dude, the people that are wandering when there are zombies, they're the Walking Dead. And you're like, that's pretty neat. And it'd be neat to see where those people go in their lives living within a zombie apocalypse. Yeah, that would be pretty interesting. And the problem is, they run into, oh no, we've run into, who did they run into fucking first? It's not the governor. They run into somebody before the governor, and oh no, so they run to the farmhouse. Carl gets shot. They go to the farmhouse. At the farmhouse, there's argument with the zombies. Then there's a fight with Shane.
Were you watching a different?
And then there's the fight with the governor. Then after the governor, it's the place where they're all cannibals inside that city. And then after that, it's the fucking Negan. And then after that, it's the same fucking thing. And so you're like, okay, I think Robert Kirkman's Invincible. Invincible's first season is so good, and I'm worried where it goes. If
it's like the comic book.
I've intentionally avoided the comic.
Is really good.
I've intentionally avoided it because
and this is completely the comic book.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
But I feel like Kirkman has these great ideas, and then they fall apart because he meanders and just kind of, I don't know, why don't we try this and this and this and this?
I think that example in terms of like.
But that's what this was, because he wrote this movie, right? Robert Kirkman wrote this movie.
What zombie thing that's been stretched out, or even anything like that's been stretched out like into a series and made like into multiple seasons has not meandered?
I think it's because they don't have any vision. Like when you think of the original trilogy, I know there's 4 of them, but we all like to forget that 4th, even though it was filmed in fucking Toronto. We all try to forget Land of the Dead, and we try to stick with Night, Dawn, Day, right? Night, Dawn, and Day all have a message to them. And the problem, my personal feeling, the problem with The Walking Dead is The Walking Dead has a point, and it has a story, and it has a theme. And then it just goes, and it just fucking goes, it gets wasted. It becomes like a milky, diluted solution. You can't see anything in it.
I feel the problem with it is that they've turned it into one of those high school dramas.
And that's exactly what happened. Yeah. Every person had a reason.
It's a CW show.
And you're like, yeah, this has lost its meaning. Case in point with Renfield. Renfield has it's not even good, but it has an acceptable
CW movie.
It has an acceptable kind of little narrative. It's like he's a codependent and he wants to get out of that relationship. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go with that in. That's funny.
We don't
but
see that.
Then we have to bring in what's her name? Brita Water. Water filter. Yeah, that's right. Brita Filter. She needs to come in, and I'm sure she's a lovely person, but my fuck is she a bad actress, man.
Yeah.
Horrible.
It's just not a good her style is not good.
And maybe I think you said she's a singer or a model?
I thought she was a comedian.
Maybe
like
she's a
stand-up
comedian.
And
something. Maybe this is just not her thing because they have her constantly ad-libbing. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this ad-libbing is not good. So the one thing you're hoping for is this little idea of a narrative that they have is going to be kind of comical. And the problem is it's not. And they don't try to make it comical at all. They don't really push the comedy. The times when they do try to push comedy, which is majority of the time through Awkwafina's ad-libbing, it's just not funny. And it sucks because I'm sure she's a great woman, but just not funny, man. Just not for me. You know, maybe for others she's super funny.
Actress, rapper, and comedian.
Rapper, that's what it was, which is great. I'm sure she's great at rap, man. But the comedy just wasn't for me. So they have that. And then they have, the support group that he goes to. Now, I think the support group that he goes to and talks about his feelings and then coming to terms with learning to be non-codependent and then great. Dracula coming and killing everybody, I think that was the original pitch from Robert Kirkman because that is a very self-contained, cool story. Yeah. Not cool, but self-contained, acceptable story.
It's a good start.
All the other shit that you're like, what the fuck is this?
It's the fill-in stuff.
Yeah, you're like, what the fuck is it? With Ben Schwartz trying to be a scary bad guy, all I can hear when he's going, I'll fucking shoot you, motherfucker, is Sonic. I can hear Sonic the Hedgehog in my head going to people, I'll fucking shoot you, I'll blow your fucking head off. And I'm like, that's Sonic the Hedgehog.
All I can see is all the filler bad actors. Not the mother. The mobster mother, because she's great in everything she does.
Shamira,
they'll say right here
she's got a very, I believe she's
Shorey?
Agladushu, that's right. Agladashu? Man, that's a hard last name, but she's a wonderful actress. And she's great. I've seen her in other stuff. She was the wife in one of the most depressing movies I've ever seen in my fucking life. if you ever feel like, I feel like setting my wrists, but I need something to just push me over the edge, watch The House of Sand and Fog. My goodness, that's depressing. Wonderful movie, but my goodness, depressing.
Adrian Martinez was like the worst.
Yeah, none of them, nobody was trying.
The Chief was the worst.
But, so the only... There were, not the only, that's not true. There were a couple of gags in the movie that I snickered at.
Yeah.
A lot of the ultra-violence was a lot of fun. I was having, like, Renfield rips this guy's arm off, and then he's used him to bat people. I'm like, that's funny, man.
But the choreography, the what do you call it? The
you
cinematography
and I disagreed on this completely.
No, but it was hard to follow.
It was.
I hate cinematography that's hard to follow.
As hard as they could to ape John Wick. They were super trying for John Wick.
It was bad.
They did it poorly, but that's what they were going for. All those filler scenes where they were ripping arms off, or all the fucking Renfield eats a bug and suddenly he's Spider-Man and he can fucking jump all over the place. That was nonsense.
Well, yeah, that's great, but they needed for each fight scene, they needed the way to like connect it, and they didn't have anyone who was like any good at connecting these scenes together.
No. Well, how could you? Like, there's no filler between all of them. Awkwafina is a cop, and she's tired of arresting people, unlike being in the, not speed traps, that's what I'm looking for. Ride. What the fuck are those called?
The speed trap.
No. It's...
it's the alcohol one.
Yeah, like Drive Alive or whatever.
Drive Alive.
So she's pulling people over.
They're slowing down.
Yeah, slowing down. Have you been drinking? Yeah. No. Okay, great. And they go on. And then Sonic the Hedgehog comes flying out in like his Lamborghini or something, or I can't care. And he shoots at people, and then they arrest him, and then he gets off. But
it looked like the whole time these actors are going, yeah, like we don't care.
But Awkwafina,
we know this is gonna suck.
What I didn't like about Awkwafina is she looks like she is a improv partner waiting for her partner to do something, because she was constantly like,
and vice versa.
That look, like wait, and I'm like, stop doing that, because the other person she was acting with was not doing that. I'm like, I feel like that's what made me realize that she's 100% ad-libbing with someone that doesn't ad-lib, with someone that's got a script and is just, or they're like, okay, you guys ad-lib, and thankfully it's not as bad as Ghostbusters, but Ghostbusters the remake, but it was bad that poor Awkwafina's out there all alone. And look, I got to hand it to her. Maybe the reason the ad-libs didn't work was because she was out there completely alone doing it, right?
Bad writing all around. Like, it wasn't just her. It was like,
yeah, it was
bad to like. It was just like filling in things, and they probably did reshoots too.
But there was, so the narrative of Renfield's a codependent. He goes to a group of codependents where it's like a Codependents Anonymous.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, okay, that's not a good, but it's a fine idea.
It's a great idea.
And then
it works.
They're like, look, you don't need to be a codependent. And then it's the scene in Spider-Man 2 when he decides, I don't want to be Spider-Man anymore. And then he's raindrops keep falling on my head. And then he's going to go into, that's what he goes and does. He goes and gets an apartment. I don't know how. He hasn't got any money. He goes and buys some clothes. I don't know how. He hasn't got any money.
That's not explained, but you get all this narrative for stuff that we don't care.
Because it's all silly and funny and makes you laugh, right? And then he hangs up pictures, and they're all aspirational posters, and you're like, this isn't funny, but you're like, okay, whatever. And then around that time, this is when I was like, what is the timeline here? Because it felt like he goes to the groups, and then he goes back and talks to Dracula. And we'll get into Dracula in a second. And then he goes back to the group, and the group says, you need to live on your own and be your own man. And then he...
well, he decides that's because he started...
the fight with...
Fighting something.
Yeah, he saved Awkwafina in the bar.
In the bar, and that whole scene was hard to follow, too.
But again, like, all of that, I just kind of forgot about all that because it wasn't part of the central story. But then... he decides that, and this is where I start getting cloudy because I was not paying attention anymore. He decides, oh no, Dracula comes and says, you fuck. You're supposed to be bringing me innocent people. Oh, I'm sorry.
Cheerleaders, nuns.
And then he goes back to the codependent thing and he murders all of them.
Well, Dracula does.
Dracula does, yeah.
Not right.
And I'm like, you know what? that should have been the end. That would have been a little tiny 30-minute self-contained fun story.
I bet that's the idea that was originally brought up.
Because that's kind of where it felt like the obvious end for the story.
But then they just made it convoluted.
Yep.
And like, even though it's such a simple story, they made it so convoluted. Oh, the guy Ben Schwartz who's the gutless mob's son who wants to prove himself. So, what a surprise! He becomes
a
familiar to Dracula, and then he wants to kill Renfield.
What I don't get too is with a familiar, Can you just like
it wasn't
shoot
explained
them?
well?
Yeah,
because it was like
maybe it's because
you drink his blood.
That's what I thought you have
vampire?
to do. I thought to be a familiar, and I'm going by what we do in Shadows rules with poor Gizmo, as he's referred to, Guillermo. He's a familiar. He doesn't have powers because a familiar does not get bitten by. They're not bitten by the vampire. They're not vampires. They just want to be vampires, so they spend the time around vampires, hoping that they'll get turned into vampires. And when you think of the original Renfield in Dracula, he's not bitten by Dracula, but he hears Dracula. It's been a long time, but he hears Dracula in his head, and that's why he's eating bugs in the insane asylum and stuff like that. But it doesn't matter. The point is, none of the rules are ever laid down. They just expect that you should know them.
It's just like it's quickly said, kind of.
Yeah. But also the idea of Dracula's
I became his
blood.
familiar because I needed help, and then they didn't really explain that well later. They just said pretty much his family was dying, and he had to go and save them by getting
a real estate deal.
My understanding is to get the blood so that he could bring it to his family.
I remember they're talking about him doing a real estate deal. I remember in the original story, it's Jonathan Harker that goes to do the real estate deal. And that's where I started getting confused. I'm like, maybe I'm remembering it wrong, but it doesn't matter.
So it's referring to the original Dracula completely?
In the opening.
Okay, I've never seen it. So.
And that's Jonathan Harker, I believe. But maybe I'm wrong, right? But I'm pretty certain it's John Harker that goes visit. Doesn't matter. Point is,
this is a great episode.
The big question that I had for you that I was like, was they get a Kool-Aid jug of Dracula blood to give to people.
Yeah.
Now, I thought the mythology is if you drink Dracula's blood, you become a vampire. Is that not the mythology?
I think that's the idea for... Okay, so Buffy made certain rules where it was like, if you are drained of a certain amount of blood, like if you're
a
close
vampire
to dead,
or if you're a person.
If you're a person and you get bit by a vampire and the vampire drinks almost all your blood or something, then you can become a vampire. But if they drink too much, you die.
But what about you drinking their blood?
I see, that was another thing where it's like if you co-drink, like they drink your blood.
So if you're 69 with a vampire,
you then drink their blood, then you become a vampire instead of just being dead.
That would really suck, quite literally, for homosexual men vampires. Because what if you're getting a blowjob and he gets all turned on and his fangs stick right into your dick? That would suck, literally.
Vampire.
But yeah, I thought you had to drink, or I thought if Dracula's blood gets into you, then you become a vampire. But apparently, with this, if Dracula's blood, because Dracula is the fucking king of the vampires. If Dracula's blood, stop looking at pornography. Sorry. If Dracula's blood gets into you,
Mom,
you become a vampire. But not with this, you heal whatever's wrong with you gets healed up, and that's it. Do you have powers after that?
I guess so.
Sure. And so that whole part, and then there's a big fight scene at the end, and who cares? And it's just, the movie's a whole bunch of who cares. That's the best way I could sum it up. A whole bunch of whatever.
Nothing matters.
Shit. But I will say, and like I told you, we saw all these trailers for shit movies at the start of it. And one of the shit trailers we saw was Fast and 14.
Was Fast in there?
Yeah, there was the little when we came walking in, there was the little fucking where they're all talking. It wasn't the trailer, but it's where they're all talking about it.
Yeah.
I would watch Renfield 50 times before I'd watch fucking any of the Fast and Furious.
Renfield's one of those movies where I just don't care anymore. Like I don't want to see it anymore. I don't want a sequel. I want it to just die out. I hope it's forgotten.
Yeah.
My wife said she heard it got some good reviews. I came home and said it was dog shit.
And I'm sure it's a movie where it's not divided, but it's a movie where, like, there were some people in our theater that were laughing at these jokes that just aren't funny. And hey, man, some people found it funny. That's cool. Nobody was laughing at the parts where they were ripping arms and beat with the arm. I was laughing hysterically. I thought it was great.
There was some good moments, but you looked over at me multiple times, and I was not having a good time. I was just there going.
I think you were angry that guy touched my M&Ms. And you want to be the only man who touches my M&Ms.
Still angry.
No, those M&Ms are in my office. I still haven't opened them.
I think it's the stupid. You don't do that. And also, you don't sit next to people. You leave a seat.
Maybe
there was plenty of room in that theater.
She was an older, attractive woman. Not attractive. She was an older, acceptable woman like Renfield, who's an older, acceptable woman. And perhaps if she wanted to get handsy.
Did you see the 4 dudes that came in like high as a kite?
No.
They were fucking gone. And he walked up the stairs going.
The guy who was beside us, I thought that was funny when he went up and he fell. And he must have broken his fucking leg because that was loud.
Yeah,
man.
that was loud. I was like, what the fuck? Maybe he broke the seat.
He must have hurt himself.
I think they were all high.
Maybe.
They might have.
We should have got a contact high.
Maybe it was.
That's what you're really upset about.
That's true. We didn't smell it.
Yeah.
It would have been.
It would have been edibles.
Like,
so probably edibles.
Oh, maybe. It's a trees convention. Jesus.
Point is,
don't go to Renfield.
Yeah, don't go to Renfield. It's not very good. You know what? Wait for it to come to streaming and then fall asleep watching it on streaming.
Download Warm Bodies.
Don't download. Fuck you, Warm Bodies.
I liked it.
Fuck off. Fuck off.
What would you rate this movie out of 10?
I would give it 2 fangs out of 10.
4.
No, I'd give it 2.
4 fangs.
For 2.
4.
2.
May the 4th be with you.
Oh, that's what it is. May the 4th is like saying May the 4th be with you.
I hope you're joking.
Anyway, we're sorry that you've been watching Watch and Complain. Please follow us on all of our socials like MySpace and Friendster.
Our new app that we developed.
There was something called Friendster a long time ago. You probably weren't even born yet.
We should call it Friend Zone.
Friend Zone.
Like there's no romance on this thing.
Not if you and I are on it. No. Sure won't be.
It's not a dating app. It's like the opposite.
My phone, I can feel it getting drier as I'm trying to check out women's pics on my phone. Gross. But yes, follow us on all of our socials. Phil reads the comments. I do not. And that's why he's, if there are ladies that are saying, Rob, please come to my house. Please come visit me. I want to throw my panties at you. I'm not getting it because Phil won't let me read them.
And the next episode will be episode 199, where we're going to talk about the season finale.
Also,
I Mandalorian
can't read.
Yeah, well, I wasn't going to mention.
Goodbye, everybody.